RoboPapa.
Hey YouTubers, RoboPapa here. To this tutorial I'm going to show you some Linux commands that you might find useful while you're navigating your way through Raspberry Pi in particular, but in general they are good also for any Linux flavor. But we're doing the demo over here today on the Raspberry Pi using PuTTY. So I'm already logged in, and the first thing that we need to know and understand what does sudo means, which really it's just translating to super user do. And if you take the whatever a capital over here, that's basically your sudo, and that gives you super user abilities. There's certain areas and restrictions that will prevent from you to do that as a regular user, and at that point you want to do and use sudo. And you will see a lot of videos about using sudo when they want to update and upgrade, etc. So knowing that, you want usually when you're starting your Raspberry Pi, you will want to do apt get, which is really the packaging get, and then you will do like an update command, and when that one is done you'll do the upgrade command, and all of that is starting with the sudo as we discussed it before, and those will basically update and upgrade your packages that currently installed. And the apt get is the flavor of Raspbian to be able to download and install certain softwares and packages that don't need compilations and can actually just immediately install on your machine. The other tool after sudo and apt get that you probably will use a lot is the man for manual. So if you want to, for example, if you have a command and you don't know what are the parameters, you can use man to get some help. That's basically the Linux helper. So for example, if I want to do ls, which is the command would printing out the list, but I don't like that view and I want to see hidden files or a little bit more information, but I don't know what it is, I can do the help for ls, and it will generate me a helper if it exists, and at that point you can see all the extensions and what ls means, which is the list directory content. And you can go down the list and see if one of those extensions that you need are here. So we can start with one of the main command of the ls, which is ls-l, which just gives you a list, and it's very useful. You can see it with color schema and etc. But if you look over here, it's really kind of hard to understand what if you're not trained, what is all of that means. So you can actually do ls-lh, which now gives you like a more readable values of the folders or files. So for example, this one is 88 megs, which was harder to know that it's 88 megs over here. So yeah, so man is really like your almost best friend over here. Another command is as your screen gets like bigger, and like you might have multiple lists like this, and you want to actually show also hidden files, so which is the the -a, and you can see over here now we have the dot and dot dot etc. over here, like some hidden files. As you can see that the window is getting really cluttered, so you can use clear, which is really just clearing your monitor or the view. The next command is actually making a directory. This is usually where you will want to do, and you will just do mkdir, which is make directory, and you give it a name. So let's call it test. So now we can actually list this, and we'll see if we can have test over here, which is right over here. So then after you're creating a directory, usually you want to go in, so you can do cd, which means change directory, and we'll give it the name, which is test, and now we can see that we are inside test over here. So that was another command, the cd. If you want to go down a directory, so you do cd dot dot, that will go down. If, for example, you are in multiple folder hierarchies, so if we'll take, let's say, wiring pi, and we'll do an ls.l -l, and we'll go to devlib. So you can see over here, now we're in a higher hierarchy, and you want to go back to your root directory, you can do cd tilde, which is the shift and tick on my keyboard. That will take you straight to the root directory, and you can see it over here. So that's how you can navigate through directories. So if we'll go back to our test directory, and obviously this will be empty. So that you will want to create certain editor like files, and you want to use an editor. The Raspbian that I have installed on my Pi comes already with the nano editor, so I can do sudo nano, and let's call it some file. And with Linux you don't have to give it like extensions like in Windows, but just for clarity we'll do that. So this is the editor, and you know, I'm not going to go through the editor itself. You can Google it or use Mon to find out a little bit more about it. But we'll put some text over here, so we'll call it like hello world. And I'm pressing the Control X, as you can see over here, to exit. And they ask that's been modified, do I want to save it? So I can say yes. And it gives me the file name, and I'll click enter. So if now we'll look on the file, we can see that it's actually the date and the size that it was created. So if we'll do ls -h, gives us the same, because it's not that big. And those are the permissions to run that file, which we can touch about how to change those later. So that's basically the nano, and we can hear, we can see like the file over here. In case that you don't like that name and you want to rename it, you can use the mv command, which is really for move. So if you want to move it from one folder to another, but you can actually move it to its own folder and just rename it. So I can now do some file.txt to actually hello world. And now if we'll look at the list, now some file.txt is gone, but I have hello world, which is exactly the same thing. So if I'll do nano on the hello world, now we have that hello world again. So that's the move. One thing that you will probably do a lot also is try to download certain files that you cannot install from the apt-get. So what you want to do is the wget, which is the webget, and I already have I copied already a URL. So what you can do is give it like -o to give it like an object name, and I can give it over here like a file name, and then I'll paste the file that I want to download, and it will actually connect and it will start downloading it over here. We'll take a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds to download. So that's how you're actually getting the file, and obviously after I got the file, then I will need to use the unzip command to unzip it and move forward. And I used that particular file, which is the OpenCV, in my other videos to shows how to install OpenCV on a Raspberry Pi. So if you look now on the file, it will be over here, and you can see that it's the same name that I gave it over here. So it's OpenCV. If you, in case you want to delete a folder, so let's say I want to delete this OpenCV because I don't need it, I can use the rm opencv.zip, and it's lowercase v. and it's gone. And if you need like some help, once again, on RM, which is the remove files or directory, you can come here, like we use the mon, and then see all the options over here. You can use the RM also to remove a non-empty folder. So if we go back, and we can see that we have something in our test over here. We have the hello world. So if I'll try to use the command to remove a directory, which is rmdir, and I'll do test, it will actually will complain the directory is not empty. So if you don't want to go and start deleting a lot of folders, you can actually use the rm, and you can use the -rf, which is the recursive and folder, and I can give it test. And now I will not have the test folder over here, which is gone. So let's create again this test folder. That way we can actually use it. And we'll use it again in a second. The next thing that you want to probably know is about find and grab in the pipe in Linux. So the pipe is very nice because it's just moving the output of one command to the next one. So for example, if I do ls-l, it gives me this list, and I can go and pipe this and do something with this list. So for example, if I want to find anything that has open in it, I can use the grep and say open, and I will output me all the instances that actually have open in them. So OpenCV this, OpenCV that, OpenCV test. So to use the find command, you can actually do find, and you can give it like a specific qualification, and it will find it. Really, that doesn't mean it's not that powerful, but you can find actually everything that has a txt on it, for example, and it found that one. Or if I'll try to find something very generic, so find star ea star, now you can see that it found all those files that actually has an ea star in it. So the nice thing is that now I can take this, and if we look a little bit, so let's say we find, and we'll send this to grep, and we'll try to find that cpp. So you can see how it found all the cpp, and it marks them in red in here. So grep is a really nice, and the pipe as well, obviously, that you can use. If we go back to our test folder, which I think it's still empty. Okay, so if we'll do the command touch, and we'll give it hello world, if it doesn't exist, it will actually create it and give it the timestamp of whenever it's actually generated at. So that's another thing about like that particular command touch is actually updating the timestamp. And if it doesn't, the file that you try to touch, it doesn't exist, it's actually creating it. So let's now create, like, we'll go inside that hello world, and we'll put some text in it, and we'll put a hello, and then we can create world over here. And we use the MV to change the name of hello world to actually hello. So now we have two folders over here, or two files, I'm sorry. One is hello, one is world. You can see that the original hello file is it still on that has that timestamp. And you can also see how the defense of the user. Well, here I just used the touch hello world, which then I converted it to hello, and the user was pi, but the world I actually used the sudo nano, and the owner of it is the root. So those are two different actually file systems. So if I try to just let's say nano world, and I'll try to change it, I should not be able to. Yeah, and you can see that I have an error over here that permission is denied, and the reason is that I don't have the permission because I use that as the root. So if I'll do now touch hello, now you can see that actually the date was updated. So now if we want to change the mode or the change the permission on the file, you can see them over here. The first bit over here, it actually tells it if it's a directory or not. When there's no D in it, it means that it's a file. If there's a D, it's a directory. And then we have read, write, execution, read, write, execution, read, write, execution for the user, the group, and then basically everyone else. So if you want to change those permissions to a file, you can use the chmod command. So if we'll do the mon on this, and then we'll explain to you basically what you can use it as, and you can add like plus and minus, and or actually giving it like certain values between 0 to 7, which represent basically the bits. So if you think about it, let me quit from here for a second, that each location, if it's a bit, and we're talking about 3 bits, so we have this one, when it's turned on, it will give you a value of 1. When this one is turned on, it will give you a value of 2, and when this one is turned on, it gives you a value of 4. And then any combination of those will add up. So if all of them are on, you'll have 7. If only the last one, so the write and the executable, are on, you will have 5. If it's the executable and the write, you'll have 3, etc. So it's a very simple binary. So if you want to change the hello world to give permission of read, write, and execution to all groups, so owner, the group, and everyone else, you actually will do the change mode hello, and then we'll give it like 777. Oops. Changing mode 777 to hello. And then if we look, now you can see that this changed even its color, because now we gave it permission of executed, and it's true for all 3 groups. So the other way that we can do that is also change mode, and we can say minus x to hello, and now if you look on that, x was removed from all 3 groups. So if, for example, we wanted to give execution permission to only the owner, which is this, so that's the first the first bit, so we'll do change mode 7, and the other one we want to keep it like this, so we can do that as 66 to hello, and now we can see that there's an execution for this file. So that's basically the main thing that you might use as far as the commands, but then there's like other commands that are really nice to know. One of them is the disk usage. Okay. So du -h on the main one will give you like every other folder. Another way to do that is df -h, and that gives you basically the list of all the information, the partitions that the SD card has. So you can see the root file system's got 32 gigs, it's been used this, it's available that, etc. if you do like fdisk minus L, I don't have any disks, obviously, it's just like the SD card. If you do like the lsblk, it will actually give you like a hierarchy of all the disks themselves, which are not like hard drives. That's like the USB that you're mounted to your Raspberry Pi, and you can see them over here with the size. And obviously you can take this and you can push this one to grab, I believe, and if you say disks, it'll give you all the disks themselves, like only disk, without like explanation on how the permissions are divided. If you need to know what's connected to your USB, you can do ls USB, and that will list you all the items that are actually connected to your USB. If you do cal, that gives you like a calendar and what is today. Same thing is with date. Those are kind of like nice things to know. pwd, it's not the password, it's just like what is your folders. If I'll do cd test and pwd, it tells you what's your current folder. So in case you need to know. If you need to copy a file, so I can do cp, for example, world, will copy the file, and I give it world1. So now I should have both of them over here. Another nice thing is that sometimes you want to write, you have certain commands that you're using a lot of times, and you don't want to type like a long thing. So for example, I have the GPIO from Wiring Pi installed in this, so I can actually do sudo GPIO and let's say read all. That will give you all the GPIOs on the Raspberry Pi. But what I can do is I can actually create an alias, and the way you do it, you're giving it an alias, and let's call it pi equal, and then you're giving in the command, which is sudo GPIO read all, which means that now, as long as the machine is up, every time that I actually type pi, it will do the same command. The problem with this is that when you turn off the Raspberry Pi, you will lose this alias. So the way to solve it is you're going back to your root directory, and you use sudo nano, can't remember now the name of it, but it should be .bashrc. That's the one I want. So sudo nano .bashrc, and over here you will have the option to put in those aliases. So you can see over here I created already a read all alias, and as well as a dir alias. So if we'll come out from here and I clear, and I will just type read all, which is the same as if now I'll type pi, except that the pi will be gone when I disconnect the pi, while the read all will always stay there. Similarly, if I type dir, now I get the same thing as if I did ls minus l, obviously minus the colors. One thing you also need to know is the shutdown. That's basically bringing the system down, and that's really how you should shut down your Pi. You don't want to disconnect it. You just want to use the shutdown, otherwise you can corrupt the SD card from not shutting down correctly. Last thing that I want to show you guys is the cat command, which is concatenating files. So we can take two files and you can combine them together, So if we'll try to do that over here, so we have the hello and we have hello world and world. So if we'll try to do cat hello and world, and now it's outputting it. So what we can do is actually we can do cat hello world, and I believe that if you use that greater than to hello world, that will create hello world file, which should have now hello world in it. So if we do sudo nano hello world, you see that we have now hello world in it. So that's how you can actually combine two different files into one. Yep, so that's basically it. If you like it, please let me know, and please subscribe and like. And if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll try to answer to my best knowledge. Thank you.